Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today we're diving into a story that proves even Hollywood legends have to deal with nosy neighbors. But when you're Meryl Streep, you don't just deal with it to handle it with unmatched class and a brilliant sense of humor. This isn't just a tale about privacy. It's a masterclass in outsmarting gossip. Imagine this. You're Meryl Streep, one of the most celebrated actresses of all time. You've just moved into a quiet, picturesque town in Connecticut. Looking for a slice of normal life away from the Hollywood hustle? You've found a beautiful home, a sanctuary for you and your family, but you soon discover that your new life comes with a few unofficial neighborhood watch members. It all started subtly. A neighbor dropping by with a welcome pie, their eyes scanning a little too long over the home's interior. Another casually asking the mailman if Ms. Streep gets a lot of fan mail. Before long, it became clear that the local gossip mill was running at full speed, and the main topic was the town's famous new resident. The curiosity was, in a way, understandable. Having a global icon move in next door is bound to create a stir. But the friendly curiosity soon morphed into intrusive speculation. Whispers started circulating at the local grocery store, the post office, and over garden fences. Did you hear she's adding a huge wing to the house? I wonder what she's really like behind closed doors. The chatter was constant, turning her private life into public entertainment. For a while, Meryl and her family tried to ignore it. They were private people, and they hoped the initial excitement would eventually die down. They'd offer polite smiles and brief greetings, hoping to set a boundary without causing a fuss. But the gossip only grew more imaginative. Rumors about lavish parties, famous visitors coming and going at all hours, and diva-like demands started to take on a life of their own. It was a classic small-town scenario, but amplified to a Hollywood scale. One day, Meryl was outside in her garden. A neighbor, known for being the primary source of the local grapevine, wandered over to the fence. After a bit of small talk about the weather and the roses, the neighbor leaned in conspiratorially and said, "Meryl, you won't believe the latest rumor I heard about you." She then proceeded to recount a particularly wild story that was making the rounds. Now, most people might get angry, defensive, or upset. They might confront the neighbor or retreat further into their home, but Meryl Streep isn't most people. She listened patiently, a thoughtful expression on her face. When the neighbor finished, expecting a reaction of shock or denial, Meryl simply smiled. This is where the genius comes in. Instead of fighting the fire, she decided to add some fuel but in the most brilliant way possible. She looked the neighbor right in the eye, her expression turning serious, and said, "Oh, that's not even the half of it. You want to hear what's really going on?" The neighbor's eyes widened. This was the moment she had been waiting for, a direct line to the source. Meryl leaned in closer, as if sharing a top-secret confidence. She began to spin a tale so incredibly over-the-top and fantastical that it could only be a work of fiction. She talked about a secret underground tunnel she was building to the town center to avoid traffic. She mentioned she was raising exotic birds that sang opera. She even joked that the real reason she moved there was to train for a secret mission to space. She delivered this entire monologue with the award-winning sincerity she's famous for. There was no wink, no hint of a joke. She was utterly convincing. The neighbor was completely mesmerized, hanging on every single word, her mind racing to process these incredible scoops. After weaving this unbelievable narrative, Meryl paused, looked at her watch and said, "Oh, look at the time, I have to go and polish my Oscars. It was so lovely chatting with you." And with a friendly wave, she went back inside, leaving the neighbor standing by the fence, utterly speechless, her mind a whirlwind of bizarre information. You can just imagine what happened next. The neighbor, armed with the most sensational news she had ever heard, rushed to spread the word. But this time, the stories were different. Meryl Streep is building a secret tunnel. She has birds that sing Puccini. As these new, ridiculous rumors began to circulate, something fascinating happened. People started to question them. The stories were so outlandish, so patently absurd, that they made all the previous, more believable gossip seem questionable in comparison. Could you really believe a rumor about her redecorating budget when you just heard she's training for a space mission in her backyard? Slowly but surely, Meryl's tactic began to work. By flooding the gossip mill with pure, unadulterated nonsense, she had cleverly sabotaged it from the inside. She exposed the absurdity of the rumor machine by becoming its most creative contributor. People started to laugh. They realized how silly the whole thing had become. The act of gossiping about her was no longer a serious clandestine activity. It had turned into a joke. The gossip didn't stop overnight, but its power was broken. Meryl had effectively disarmed the rumor mongers, not with anger or confrontation, but with wit and creativity. She taught the whole town a lesson without ever raising her voice or pointing a finger. She showed them that if they were determined to turn her life into a story, she was a much better storyteller. This story is more than just a funny anecdote. It's a brilliant example of how to handle negativity and intrusion. Meryl Streep used the very tools of her trade performance, creativity, and a deep understanding of human nature to solve a real-life problem. She didn't build walls to keep people out. She opened the door just wide enough to let the ridiculousness in, and in doing so, she reclaimed her peace and privacy. It's a reminder that sometimes the best way to fight absurdity is with even more absurdity. Instead of getting bogged down in denials and corrections, you can rise above it by controlling the narrative in the most unexpected way. Meryl turned the tables on the gossips, making them the unwitting audience of her own private performance. And in the end, she got exactly what she wanted, to be seen less as a subject of gossip and more as just another neighbor, albeit one with a truly fantastic imagination. What an incredible way to handle a frustrating situation. It really showcases her intelligence and grace under pressure. Thank you so much for watching today. If you enjoyed this story, please give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more tales from the world of Hollywood. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. We'll see you in the next video.